What learnings have you taken from different parts of your life and brought into this business?
Well, I've been in the industry for about 26 years, and so I've had a variety of different experiences and crossed a lot of different marketing roles, everything from sort of offline to online, digital to mobile, TV, broadcast, PR. One of the things that I've learned a lot, I've learned, number one, if you are relentlessly focused on the consumer, you are inevitably going to make the right decisions for the business. And that is a lot easier said than done. Think of how many companies are organized according to their brand or in different silos. Whereas, a consumer is a person. It is the person, whether they shop in your brick and mortar, where they happen to go online, or they're on your mobile app, or they see an ad on Instagram. They are the same person, and you have to be relentlessly consumer centric. So that's been one common theme that I've learned. Relationships matter in this industry, in terms of understanding how the business works, where you can get the best creative ideas, who's doing the most innovative work. That's been important. But I think probably the bigger headline is being just deeply intellectually curious, because you constantly are learning. That's why I've stayed in this industry and I've not gotten bored. I learn something every single day from the partners I work with, my colleagues at Facebook, and that's been incredibly stimulating. It's been really, really rewarding.
Is there a big mistake in your career that has now been a blessing that you've learned so much from?
Oh yes, big mistake, big hurdle. I mean, the famous Pets.com, the sock puppet, the infamous sock puppet that probably defined the internet boom and bust, was actually my company that I co-founded with the person who owned the domain name. I co-founded it when I was in business school, my second year, got $5 million in funding from Hummer Winblad, and I was fired from my own company after they brought in a new CEO a few weeks before graduation. And it takes, lots of people may get fired throughout their career or laid off. I have still not found somebody get fired from their own company. And I keep asking, but I still haven't found that person. So that was devastating. I mean, I'm smiling about it now. I'm talking to you about it very openly. But for over 12 years, I was silent about it. I was embarrassed. I didn't want anybody to know. And so I've decided that it needs to be talked about, because careers aren't always up and to the right. And quite honestly, when you have major failures, they teach you a lot about resiliency and a lot about getting back on your feet. And one of the things that I learned was to have, my confidence was so rocked back then, and it was really rocked for many, many years. I'm still working on that. Like, I'm a work in progress around it. Every now and then I will fall back and lose it. But I'm very aware of it. I'm aware of the importance of resiliency. And now I look back on it, and it's become a badge of honor in Silicon Valley to have gotten fired from my own tech startup. But back then I was very embarrassed about it.
So tell me about the work you're doing to look into the difference between enlightened and effective leaders, and what are those?
I'm really passionate about this area. It's been something I've been studying by looking at other leaders and behaviors and what makes a successful leader, and also my work with the Henry Crown Fellowship with the Aspen Institute, which is really based on this principle about being an enlightened leader versus an effective. You can be an effective leader and accomplish a mission. You can optimize for yourself, your company, or perhaps a government or a war mission, but you're not an enlightened leader. An enlightened leader thinks much more broadly about them being a global citizen, and they're part of a much bigger universe, and how can they positively impact society. And so they realize, enlightened leaders realize their place in this world. And for me, I don't know how long I'm going to be on this planet. I mean, we're all here for a speck of time in the concept of history. And so for me, I'm very focused on making sure that I am adding value to my team, to the company, but much more broadly to society. I think that's critical. And there's qualities that I have observed. They all happen to end with the letter Y. And this is something that's in the works for me, and that I'll probably write more about in the future. But some of the qualities are authenticity, bravery, curiosity, diversity, empathy, generosity, humility, resiliency, transparency, vulnerability. There's a few more in there, but that gives you a sense. Those are words. When someone is vulnerable as a leader, they tend to open themselves up more, and people get to know them as a person, and they can be much more, in that role, very effective. When you are transparent with information and you're authentic on who you are and what you stand for, that will set you apart. When you can empathize with your customers, your clients, different societies around the world, different cultures, that makes you a more enlightened leader. So those are some of the qualities that I've admired, that I'm working on myself, and I'm certainly very passionate about.